episode number 262 of the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. On today's episode, I interview an amazing acupuncturist and graduate of my online fertility coaching program, Lindsay Goodwin. Lindsay has over a decade of fertility and women's health expertise. She is a licensed and board-certified acupuncturist, Chinese medicine herbalist, and is a certified fellow of ABORM. In addition, Lindsay is a certified soul mastery coach, hypnotherapist, EFT practitioner, meditation instructor, intuitive medium, and spirit baby channel. Lindsay's approach combines scientific knowledge with spiritual energy healing, allowing her to provide highly effective treatments. She has successfully assisted numerous women with their fertility and hormonal issues, and many clients have credited her programs and healing style for completely transforming their lives. Welcome to the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. I'm Michelle, a fertility acupuncturist here to provide you with resources on how to create a wholesome approach to your fertility journey. Welcome to the podcast, Lindsay.
Hi.
I'm so happy to have you on. So Lindsay was, she also graduated from my certification program as a fertility coach, but she is on her own, even before that, is really an amazing acupuncturist who specializes in fertility. And she also has worked with patients that I've worked with. We've worked on common patients and is so passionate about empowering women. So I would love for you to share your background, how you got into the work that you do, and also include the fact that you're very intuitive as well.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, Michelle, as well as all of your listeners, and I just can't wait to share today. So, hopefully, my story and then what I'm doing is very impactful to some people that are listening. So, well, to get started, yes, absolutely. I'm an acupuncturist. I did go through your program, which, by the way, was absolutely wonderful. So, thank you so much for all that incredible information that you put out there. Just absolutely incredible. So, I became an acupuncturist over 10 years ago, and it became very apparent to me in the very beginning that my path was going to be treating women and couples, helping them with fertility, as well as helping women with their hormones. And so in fact, when I was in school, I didn't really want to do fertility. I wanted to do autoimmune as well as pain management, and the universe chose for me. And so it's been a wonderful journey. I'm so glad that I have been able to help so many hundreds of women and couples in their fertility journey. But what I found is that early on in my career, I found that people were not being supported. They were not being supported. Not only, they would get fertility treatments or they'd go to the doctor and they would find out that they had these hormonal issues but they really wouldn't know what was going on with their body or also have the emotional and energy support. And so what I've really found over the years is that when people are supported on both sides, when they're supported energetically, emotionally, as well as from evidence-based science and holistic medicine, that they have much higher success rates. And so all of my clients that have come to me, I started integrating this as an acupuncturist. And now I actually have a program that's called the Fertile Energy Code, and it integrates evidence-based holistic medicine as well as energy medicine. And so fertility coaching, really helping people through the process, being that fertility detective, really helping them be the fertility advocate, answering some of those questions that maybe the doctors are missing or they just don't have the time to answer. So really being that support system. And so when people have that support, like I said, they have much higher success rates. And so within that, I'm also a spirit baby medium. So I incorporate some of that as well as an intuitive medium. And I not only work with women in fertility and hormones and health, but also I do see a lot of women that are working through transformational journeys. Maybe there's something they're going on in their life where they are kind of looking for answers from the universe, from energy. They don't really have clarity on where to go next. So I do a lot. I do a lot just helping women. And I do help men too. It's not just for women, but my main focus a lot is on the feminine energy. So, yeah, it's definitely been an amazing ride. And I can't wait to keep moving forward and helping more and more people in this journey.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's interesting that you said energy medicine because I really do feel like that's going to be the way of the future because so many things are energetic. It's kind of like I just came back a couple of weeks ago from a Dr. Joe Dispenza
Yeah,
retreat, week long.
yeah.
And it's all about really getting to the quantum. And he talks about like if we're coming from matter or particle state where we're matter trying to change matter, that's when you like go to surgery or cut things or, really do things in a way that's all about the denseness of our matter versus when we're getting to this kind of state of connecting with our intuition, connecting with our vibration. And I mean, I'm saying that kind of in terms that people might grasp because he talks about just going straight to the quantum field and getting to
Mhm.
this mental state where if we get to that state, that's when we're able to directly impact reality. And they've seen through some of his observation through science that this is actually a thing. It's not
Yeah.
just a woo woo imagination thing. It's just science is even catching up now to things that have been talked about for thousands of years. Now we can really understand the pineal gland or pineal gland, which is the third eye. It's always been talked
Mhm.
about as a third eye and really connecting to ourselves through that way. So when you talk about energy medicine, that is one thing that a lot of times people will try to do things from the denseness of matter or when you're getting to the energetics, that is when you can have a much bigger direct effect. So yes, matter can be very helpful and I think combination of both. But sometimes if you're only doing matter, and this is an example, like when people come to you, right? They'll do like all the right foods, all the right
Right.
supplements. They'll be doing acupuncture twice a week. They'll do the massage but they're feeling stressed about getting all those boxes checked
Yes.
and they feel understandably so because it's just so much going on and also going to the doctor and the doctor is telling them, oh well, your test results, like it's like you failed a test, here's
Mhm.
your test results and they're terrible and this doesn't show that it's good for you. And having all of those things can impact the psyche and the belief that a person has in their own body, and that immediately affects your energetics because our thoughts are energy and it's
Right.
directed towards something that is taking power away. And we had just had this conversation before, Lindsay, about how so much of women's powers, they innately feel this need to nurture their body so that they can prepare to have
Right.
babies. And so much of their power gets taken away when they're told by an authority figure that they can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really hard. And, I never feel like it's most of the time like anyone is like intentionally doing that, like when they're giving them those results. Cause I always remember that doctors are so evidence based, they're science based, and that's great. That's a part of it, right? But I think that what's hard is we plant seeds, and when someone comes and, just like you see, and they're told, oh, your AMH level is really low, and so your chances of conceiving is quite low. And so that's where that energy comes in, because if you're planting that seed there and telling that patient that, oh my gosh, you're probably not going to conceive, they're probably going to start to be on that energy path of thinking that they're not going to conceive. So it's
Mhm.
hard. It's like we have to learn how to integrate the two and really, look at the evidence base, and but also support, the energy, because everything does boil down to energy. And so
It
what you're
does.
saying is absolutely, you're absolutely right, is that it's such a huge component to it, and it's been missed. It's we don't know a lot about it. That's the thing,
That's the thing. It's very difficult to measure and pin down or look at or
right.
dissect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. But what we see through science is that, for example, like if someone's highly stressed out, that their FSH level might be really high. So
Hmm.
that has an effect on that egg quality, and so the AMH. And so, when people start to really work on trying to really, it's hard because it's like you want to start a family, you want to, or if you have secondary infertility, you want to expand your family. And so it's hard to say to someone, well, just, you got to let go, and you got to allow yourself to it to flow to you. That's hard, but to some degree we have to learn to let some of that stress go. And so this is where the energy healing really helps, because it can really help people to trust more, especially like
Hmm.
people that have had traumatic experiences, like, reoccurring miscarriage, or even if you've had one miscarriage, or you've had a stillborn, or you've had a traumatic birth event, that can really create a lot of stress too. So when we go in and we really start peeling back those layers and really figuring out where we're running those subconscious programs of that, oh, okay, I have a connection to this trauma, and this is kind of creating this sort of blockage for me.
Hmm.
I work a lot with the chakras, a lot with, the reproductive powerhouse, which is the sacral chakra, as well as the throat chakra, because both of those are highly connected. I'm sure you know that, Michelle,
Hmm.
with fertility. And
Hmm.
so, when we really start to look at that, oh my gosh, because women, the most intimate place on a woman is her womb space.
Hmm.
And so when that energy gets blocked and they're not feeling they can speak their truth, or they're not being listened
Hmm.
to, women will hold a lot of energy in their womb space. And of course, that's going to block up their ability to conceive or have a viable pregnancy. And so we have to look at so many different areas. There's trauma, there's, what are people thinking about? Because, like you said, the thoughts are so powerful, as well as what you speak. That's something that
Hmm.
everyone, as
Right,
far
because
as
what
just
you
manifesting.
speak, your ears are
Yes.
listening.
Mm-hmm. And your cells listen
Oh,
to
yeah.
everything that you
Good
tell it.
point.
Yeah.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, you think about that. I can never say his name, the Japanese scientist that did the messages in the water.
Oh,
Is
yes.
it
I was just looking at
Emoto?
his stuff yesterday. Yes, yes, yes.
Emoto, right? Am I saying it right?
I'm pretty sure. Yes.
But look up
No.
messages in the water if you're listening to this. But
Yeah.
find it so fascinating. I mean, if water, it's the most basic thing. I mean, it's
Mhm.
so like simple. If water can respond with incredible crystals for positive vibrations and positive words, imagine what your body, which holds so much water, what
Mhm.
that does. And then think about the womb space. Also, when a womb is growing, like a baby's growing in the womb, it's surrounded by water and all of that vibration. So
Mhm.
sometimes, even if I do have people who just got pregnant, I tell them talk to the baby when they're afraid because
Exactly.
they've had like miscarriages, and all of that really matters. I mean, so that just shows how important and how reactive our bodies are to those messages.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're always listening. And, we can look at any health, whether we're, obviously we're talking about fertility here, but, we can look at anything. Our bodies are incredible machines, I think of them as, and whatever we're telling them, they're absolutely listening. And so, it's remembering, like you said, that really having that power, it's remembering how incredibly powerful you are. And we both know we're very integrative medicine. But we definitely want to support that, because that's a very important part to this. But my job, like, and I'm sure you feel the same way, my job is that every single patient or client that I see, I want them to walk away not only with the healthy baby, but also knowing that they feel more empowered and more in alignment with who they are, and feel good and confident with their energy and what they went through, their healing in the
Mhm.
process of working with me. And I'm sure you feel the same way in the process of our time together, because that's what it's about. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this to bring babies into the world, but we're also doing this to really help our clients and patients to really have that opportunity to really essentially find themselves. I see that so much with fertility journeys, is that, and I think that's part of why it happens, is maybe on a soul level, that it's really helping people to realize some things about, oh my gosh, like I'm really powerful. Like I really
Mm-hmm.
healed in this process. I know more about myself than way more about who I truly am than when I started with this. And so it's not fun when you're going through it, but at the end, in hindsight, you're like, kind of glad I went through that because that really helped me to see some things that I needed to see about how powerful I am. So, yeah, there's that too, thinking about that. So, but yeah, energy responding to water, that is something that I think about all the time. And water is the element of emotion as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah, and
And
it's
so
very
it's really
feminine.
interesting. It's very feminine. Exactly. And our body
Yeah, it's
is 70% water.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And I think about one of my patients recently who got pregnant. We just got like the heartbeat, which is huge because
Mm-hmm.
it's secondary infertility that she's experienced, and her daughter was growing and she was starting to feel really edgy with the time, and came to me over a year ago. So over a year ago, she's been
Mm-hmm.
with me twice a week for over a year. And last year she decided to skip November, or like not November, it was like around fall. She decided to skip trying around fall because she felt like every time around that time she would get pregnant and miscarry. So I told her, next time, don't skip that month. There was a point where she also spoke to somebody about her spirit baby and really
Mm-hmm.
connecting. And then talking with her husband, she uncovered, obviously, she was afraid to conceive around this 1 month, that she seemed to be more fertile. And that's why I said, let's not skip this month. And then also, she her and her husband were going through, because of what they've gone through, they both
Mm-hmm.
uncovered that they had certain resistance and fears, and we're also
Yeah.
feeling like, do we want this, do we not want this, is there like kind of a little bit of a resistance that we have? So work through all of that. Interestingly enough, she just literally texted me. I'm looking at her I'm looking at my phone. I see it light up and it's her. Yeah, so she's been through definitely a lot and finally had the heartbeat, which is more progress than it's been.
Oh,
And
yay.
what happened was, right before that, she was like, whether I do or not, she got to this place where I don't, like, it doesn't bother me if I don't. I'm fine, like, just having
Mhm.
my one daughter. But she kept coming because she felt really good coming,
Yeah,
because she felt her quality of life increasing. So she felt more energy rich in her life. And
yeah,
that's what I think was so interesting about it. She was almost like, I'm okay with it happening or not happening. I'm fine. She's like, whatever. I just feel really good in so many other ways that I want to keep coming. So I thought it was an interesting thing. And she's been coming for over a year, which is a long time. Not a lot of people can withstand waiting for that long. So I just wanted to mention that. And also the
yeah,
spirit babies. So I do
yeah,
see a lot of weird things happening with that. And that's where I
yeah.
wanted to tie in talking to you about it. What's your experience been? How do you connect, and like take us through the whole process?
Yeah, with spirit babies
Hmm.
or with, what you were, because I have some things to say with what you said too.
Oh,
Some
say
things.
anything that comes to your mind.
So, I'll say both. So, it's really interesting. I love that you brought up fall because I've seen an increase, and I tell my patients this all the time. If you're going to do an IVF transfer, do it in the spring or fall. If you're going to try, if we're going to work on some egg quality, and then maybe like, we want to start trying to conceive, and let's do it in the fall. Let's do it in the spring. Now, the reason why is because, as you and I know, as acupuncturists and doctors of Chinese medicine, we know that the seasons have a huge impact on how things grow. And so when we have the fertility aspect in spring and fall is so much higher. And so
Hmm.
it's interesting that she actually had made that articulation. It's sad that she was having a hard time with it, with having the miscarriage. But it's interesting that she brought the awareness and that you were able to help her through that let's not skip this month because there's a reason why. And so congratulations. I mean, that's absolutely
Hmm.
incredible. And hopefully she just listens to this too. And congratulations to her. That's absolutely amazing. Um, but it's really interesting, if you think about, if we go even further back, like I've seen this a lot with patients over the years, that if they had a traumatic childhood and maybe they didn't have the best relationship with their mother, maybe their mother was emotionally unavailable, or maybe they just didn't have, maybe it was bad. Of course, being unemotionally unavailable is not great either, but just there was a disconnect there with their mother, and so a seed gets planted, just like
Hmm.
your patient, that she was planting a seed about being worried about getting pregnant in the fall. And so oftentimes I'll flat out ask my patients and my clients, because I work a lot of people virtually too, is that, did you have a great relationship with your mother? And they'll often say, well, she was unavailable, she was really busy, or, something like that. And then my next question is, are you afraid of being a mom?
That's a
And
good question.
a lot of people, they sit there and they think for a second and they kind of look at me like, why is she asking me that? And then they think about it for a second and say, oh my gosh, I think I am. Because that's the thing. Sometimes it's just asking people the right questions
Oh,
for them
yeah.
to release, for them to really release what they need to release. And so that's part of being the fertility advocate, being the detective, being the healer, is really being able to know what to ask them. And of course, I can't attribute all of this to myself, because I am a spiritual channel. And so people's guides and angels definitely come in, spirit babies come in, and they know just what to have me ask. And so I just
Hmm.
ask. But spirit babies will say that a lot. They'll say, there's something that my parents need to work through before I incarnate in. And it's also important to remember that, and I think this takes a lot of pressure off the couple that's trying to conceive, is that it's not just about you. It's about what the spirit baby, what your baby, what their agenda is too. And
Hmm.
so, they might not want to be born until January. Maybe they want to be a Capricorn, you know?
Yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
something like that. So it takes the pressure off that, gosh, maybe this isn't just about me. Maybe this is also about the energy of my baby and what their journey is going to be. And so this is spiritual fertility, right? Like, we can't prove any of this through science, but it is interesting to think about that, if you believe that, which I do, and I know you do too, in spiritual fertility, that it's not just about us. It's not just about what our needs are and what we want, but it's also about what they want, because we got the opportunity to be able to incarnate in and to live, set our blueprint up in our life the way that we wanted it to be too. So everyone gets that opportunity. And I think, like I said, it kind of takes the edge off, some of the feeling like, oh my gosh, is this my fault? Am I doing something wrong? Why won't my body work? Maybe it's not that at all. Maybe it's just more
Hmm.
about focusing on you. And then that's just going to come in when the time is right, which isn't
Yeah,
always.
it's interesting. So interesting because I have one patient who went through IVF. It was a second marriage, and her first IVF went fine. She was pregnant, and then she did it again. She did retrieval, got two embryos, and I remember she ended up picking one embryo, but she was attached to the other embryo, or somehow I think they even named it. I'm not
Oh,
sure the exact story of it, but the first one, she was also breastfeeding at the same time. So she thinks that because of that, it didn't take. So I said, okay, next one, let's not do the breastfeeding because just in case it can cause contractions in the uterus. And you don't want to
mhm.
do that because you want it to take. But then she said, it's interesting. She goes, if we would have gotten, so she ended up getting pregnant with a second, and she felt, I think they even named it. It's so bizarre. And I don't remember the exact details. I should actually go back and ask her. But there was something about the second embryo where they felt a connection to.
Right.
And so it was like it would have not been the one if the first took, but I guess either way you're going to love the baby that you have, but there was a very specific connection that they had, and it was as if the second embryo was the one that was meant to be their baby. And it was really wild. I mean, it was just really wild just how it came, and she kind of knew it too intuitively. She just
Mhm.
knew that that was meant to be her baby.
Right, right. And that's the thing, everyone's intuitive. Some of us are going to have higher levels in that than others, and that's fine. Everyone has a different
Mhm.
journey. But
Yeah.
everyone is very intuitive and does have a connection to that
Yeah.
higher source, to that energy, and definitely to their higher self, to their soul. And
Mhm.
and to your babies. I think mothers have a very strong maternal instinct, and that doesn't just have to be in the physical. That could absolutely be that you're remembering things. And women just in general seem to be more intuitive, and so it's that feminine energy.
Mhm.
And so I love that. That's so amazing. I feel like what I'm picking up on intuitively is that embryo has some sort of key. They're showing me like a key. So that baby has some sort of key. That is the baby. Has the baby been born?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Close to the end of her second trimester.
Okay. So amazing. So that baby is going to unlock something within that family,
Ooh,
is what they're
wow.
saying. So that's probably why she felt that way. That's one of the reasons why, is this because there's something there that child, that soul is bringing to that family that needs to
Mm.
happen. And it wasn't
Wow.
time yet, because there
Mhm.
was something that needed to be worked out before that baby could actually incarnate in. Because we have to remember that there are things that come into our life, including people, souls, that if we're not ready for it, we might not consciously even be like able to comprehend the sort of power that could be coming in. So that's what I feel, is this
Right.
baby, this soul is very powerful and has something that's going to really change that family in an amazing way, and they have to be ready for that.
Wow, amazing. That's so cool. I mean, it's true. Like there are so many aspects to coming together that are really working, moving parts of creating or having babies. I mean, really conception in general. There's so many aspects to it. And of course, you and I can help and assist and do whatever we can energetically, physically, through diet, supplements, all of that.
Mhm.
But then there's this other element that's mystery, and we don't have control over that. That is the control of something way higher and grander.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I have to ask you, I'm curious to know, do the babies talk to you? Like when they're in the belly, do you ever get communication from them? Do they talk to you about do they tell you like what they want their mom to eat, or do you see things? Are you clairvoyant? Do you see
I'm a
imagery?
little, yes, I am a little bit clairvoyant. I do have intuition. I don't know that I see specifically the babies telling me, but I get feelings. And sometimes I tell people, write a letter. Oftentimes I tell them to write a letter to the baby and to have a communication and to just let them know, to make that connection. I see it as almost making that connection. I envision in my mind Avatar when they're like going on the dragon. At first, the dragon's really wild and it's very hard to control. And then they take
Yeah.
that thing from their hair and they connect with it. And then they're like, all of a sudden it's smooth. It's like, make
I
that
love it.
connection.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love that. Like, I feel like when you talk to people in stories like that and give them visuals, that's also helpful when they're trying to get pregnant too. Like if
Hmm.
I use this a lot. I talk to them about the cold womb. Like if you were an
Oh,
embryo,
yeah.
you're coming along, and you're this little embryo, and you're like, do I like Antarctica or do I prefer Hawaii? So when you
Nice
start
and
making
cozy.
those cozy little embryo in the womb phase. So that seems to work too.
I
Those
love that. That's
visualizations are
good.
really, yeah, really cute.
It's easier to
Um,
grasp because a lot of what we do can seem very abstract, but then when you give them something to focus on, you're like, okay, that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, the babies are really cute. They'll come in, and they do they know you? Like after they're born and you meet them, do they remember you?
Not all of them come in with the babies. I follow them on Instagram. They send me pictures, and not all of them bring the babies. And maybe it's because they feel like they don't want to bring a baby if I'm like in there with patients, but some of them
Right.
do. And the ones that do, well, I've seen there's definitely a connection, but I love babies. So like, I feel like
Mhm.
babies feel the love and they just immediately, but yeah, I remember this one, specifically this one baby, and she was like, I can say an old soul. You could see it in her eyes. She was so special. And she
Right.
just like,
Yeah.
she looked at me, it looked like she pierced into my soul,
Uh-huh.
literally. And I was like, wow, this is cool. This is like a real connection here. Like, I felt like she almost recognized something. And
Yes.
I can't even put it into words. It's very hard to like describe or articulate, but it was really
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, I truly believe that they remember, some of them, because they know that you were part of them getting here. And so of course they hear our voice too, so they remember that as well. But
Yeah.
I get a lot of communication from them. They'll actually talk to me. They'll show me like, if the mom needs to eat more protein, I'll start seeing things that relate to protein. Of
Hmm.
course, like sometimes babies, a lot of times, they love fruit. I feel like a lot of fruit. It's like women that
Yeah.
are pregnant. Oh my gosh, I've been eating so many grapes or cherries or,
Yeah.
so they'll
No,
share different
yeah.
things.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I almost feel like she needs more blood. I mean, like it's a very TCM
Right.
term. Like we need to build
Right.
that blood. We need meat. And it's tough because sometimes people are vegan and they like it's a belief system, so you have to work around it. But I'm like, we need some blood builders.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I love it. We have such a cool job.
We do. It really is so amazing. And what it is about our job, I think that is so amazing, is that it is a type of medicine, first of all, that doesn't go out of style. It's not like what they
Right.
teach. Sometimes they'll come up with the next best thing. And then, I don't know, a couple of years later, something else outdates it. They find something's wrong with it or whatever it is. But with what we do, it just never goes out of style. It's been done for so many years. The reason why is it's based on the laws of nature. You can't
Mm-hmm.
mess with that. If you really truly understand the laws of nature and the laws of energy and the body's energy in that way, and a lot of the books were burned. So we're just like we're actually practicing a very small percentage of the full beauty of this medicine. So a lot of, unfortunately, book burning happened throughout history and we lost a lot of material. So there's a lot more to it than just even what we practice today. And it's based on the laws of nature. It's based on the inherent mechanism
Mm-hmm.
of how we are designed. And so understanding that and getting back to that, that's the power of it. And it also considers a person's spirit. Whereas modern medicine, with all its advances, and like you said earlier, 100% you need to work with both because everybody has their, like what they're really good at, but it doesn't consider the spirit. A lot of the studies were made on cadavers which don't have
Right.
chi flowing through. Obviously you can't check it when there's energy going through because the person's alive. so
Right.
so a lot of that is also not tangible, and some of it is very difficult to measure and put in numbers, just like we can't measure love or certain emotions.
Right.
Well, I guess you can. I guess there are some studies that show where the body lights up with certain emotions and how
Mhm.
it's the same in every person, and so that they do have a resonance. So now I guess science is catching up with its ability to measure that. But yeah, it's just something that's been around forever and there's a reason for it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And that's why you're seeing the integration of energy medicine, as well as holistic medicine, ancient theories and therapies, into those evidence-based science treatments. And so it's amazing time to really experience it. I think that, people like us are definitely pioneers that bringing into this, and it's an incredible opportunity to have that, because it's what people need. It's what our
Hmm.
collective as humans, on this earth, that
Hmm.
we really need just as a whole, is really
Hmm.
that integration of understanding the physical with the energy. It's so, so important. And it's interesting because it was being done so many years ago, and then it was lost. And then, of course, Western medicine came in, science, and it's really quite young. I love science, but it's not an old medicine. It's a very rather
Mhm.
new medicine, and it's just a smidgen of really what we know, or really what is.
Yeah, we can't fully rely on it. It's just it's great, it's helpful, but it shouldn't be like the whole picture. I had Dr. Deanna Minnick on, and she said
Mhm.
something, a quote, which I absolutely agree with, and it was so perfect. It said that basically we could be liberated by science, but we can also be limited by science. So it's a choice. We can be
Yes.
liberated in many ways, but we can't use it. It could also be limiting. So you can't fully 100% rely on it, because some of the things that we feel to be real are not something that could be measured.
Right. Absolutely. Because if you think about, energy is infinite. So there's infinite possibilities. And so,
Mhm.
and also people that really resonate with miracles and resonate with the infinite possibilities and really see things as endless experience more of those sort of energies. So there
Mhm.
absolutely is something to be said, like the very beginning of our conversation about mind and quantum physics and about what Joe Dispenza talks about. And because it is infinite. And when you really are in alignment with that, and it's, everything's about perspective, everything is about, where you're putting your energy. Because I see this all the time with my clients is that they're thinking one way, and then when you say it to them a different way, like, oh my gosh, like that opens up so much for me, and a huge healing happens, and then all this
Mhm.
manifesting starts coming in, because that's all it took is a light bulb to go on, that, oh my gosh, I'm seeing this, I want to see this from a different perspective. And so it just, like, it's infinite. It's if you let it in, though, that's the
I
key. You
love
have to
that. I
let it
love
in.
that you just said that, because it's considering just an option. It's just like considering an idea. Even just
Mhm.
that, even just giving it
Right.
that like moment of energy can bring it to life.
Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's that's how powerful we are. And it's all
Oh
here.
yeah.
It's like right here. It's inside of you. It's not outside of you. It's right here. It's in your heart center. The epicenter, often spirit talks to me about that. And of course, there's so many teachers and mentors that talk about that too, that everything is in the heart. It's all right here. It's within you. It's not outside of you. And so
Yes.
accessing that is just, when people really find that power, they start manifesting all over the place. I had a client of mine yesterday. She's like, I don't know how I was the way I was before, how my perspective is so different, and I'm just so happy. I don't
Mhm.
have a lot to talk
I
about
love that.
today because I'm just so happy. And so it just, I told her, I said, it's because you are starting. She started crying and saying that, I said, why are you crying? She said, I think it's because I'm just so proud of myself that I see things
Oh,
in
I
a
love
different
that.
way. Yeah. So it's
That's
really cool to see
incredible.
that. Yeah.
It's so cool to see that, because we see a lot of people and patients coming to us that are so worn down from the journey and
Hmm.
also drained of hope,
Hmm.
wanting it
Yeah.
so badly. And obviously, they're coming to us because they have hope. They wouldn't come to us or put any effort unless they have hope. And that's always something that I reiterate a lot, because they must have hope because they're here. And
Right.
they also must be guided or have some kind of calling. And I don't think that that's random. I think that when you feel that calling, it's there for a reason. It really is a calling. It's a true calling, because that calling is that giving yourself the permission. You have that on some level, there's a permission in your mind to
Hmm.
consider that to be a reality in your life.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I open every conversation up. Every single patient or client that applies for my program, they have to talk to me. I only, I want to have a connection with the people that I work with. And so it's very important for me, for us to make sure that both of us are good with each other, to make sure that we're both the right fit. But every person that I talk with and I have this intro call with, I always open it up and I say to them, congratulations to you for listening to your intuition, because you
Love
are
that.
asking bigger questions, and that's why you're here. So it's really giving them the opportunity to see that, you're seeking it out. You're the one that is the master. You're looking for a mentor, right? You're looking for somebody to help you to find those tools within, but you're the one that's taking the initiative. You're the one that's listening. And so when we actually give that power to them and let them know that how powerful they are, even just making that step forward, it's incredible. And they even start healing just from that. And even if there's
Hmm.
people that I talk to that we end up not working together, I still have made such an impact in just letting them know that they're incredible for listening to themselves, even if they work with someone else, And so I love that you said that, that I can't remember the exact words that you said, but it's along the lines of that, really congratulating them that they're taking this step forward and that they're listening to themselves and they're here because they still have hope. And so that's really courageous, because a lot of people give up. Our people
Yeah,
don't give
it's
up.
no, clearly not. Anybody who's listening to this is not giving up
No.
because they're listening to it, they're trying, they're listening, they're trying to figure out different ways, they're considering different avenues, and there is no wrong avenue. And amazing that you guys are here. And I know that they're definitely getting so much out of this conversation. I feel the energy and I love talking to you because I feel like you're so aligned in your work. And I can
Oh, thank you.
feel the passion that you have with really to empower people. And I love that you are intuitive and that you're a medium and that you're connecting on so many different levels, because I feel like that's what's missing a lot nowadays, is that there is no, I guess, consideration or emphasis on those different realities that really come together to create a true transformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And same, we're in the same place. We're on this path. And that's why we have really connected, on this path, is because we're here to help. And, we're coming from a different angle, right? But like I said, we're pioneers in this, and we're really here to make an impact in people's lives, and just the collective, just energy overall on this earth and just in the whole universe. And so, yeah, definitely same to you. I definitely really appreciate your work and your love and empowerment that you offer as well.
Well, I love this conversation. I could talk to you honestly, like I could keep talking to you because I just love your energy in general, Lindsay. And like I always felt I really like her energy from the beginning. When you reached out, I was just like, I always liked your energy. It just felt very clean, aligned, spiritual, comforting. So I always felt that. And now having this conversation, really having that like connection back and forth confirms it so much, but it's like even more than I expected. And if people really want to learn more about you and how they can work with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So they can definitely find me through my Instagram page, which is garnetmoon_love. Garnet Moon is my business name. I do have a local practice in Denver. So if you're in the Denver area, I do see clients face to face. I work with many of my clients still in Chicago. I was in Chicago for many years. And then I also see people virtually from all over the country. So definitely, we're not limited there if you're not in the Denver area. Obviously, if you are looking to get acupuncture, I would find an acupuncturist for you that is fertility certified, just like Michelle here. And we would identify a good provider for you. So, like I said, you're not limited just because you're not in Denver. So you can also go to my website, which is garnetmoonlove.com. I do offer a 30-minute consultation at no cost to you so that we can get to know each other. I can answer any questions that you might have about my program, the Fertile Energy Code, and really just get to know you and figure out, if we're a good fit and if I can help you. And if I can't, I'm going to direct you in a direction to someone that can. Doesn't happen very often, but I'm a person of integrity and I never want to take on something that I know is not realistic for me. So, and you as well. So, but yeah, thank you so much. It was so incredible to spend time with you, Michelle, as well as many of your listeners that are listening. And I just send so much love and light to everyone. Just keep going. I know I always tell my patients this and clients, you're just so badass, and I have so much respect for you. And going into this journey, you're coming out more badass than you when you went into it. So just don't give up and just always remember that.
Amen. I love that. That is a beautiful way to end this amazing episode. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for coming on. It was a true pleasure.
Thank you so much.
So that concludes today's episode. You can find all of the links mentioned on the episode notes. If you're enjoying these episodes, please take a moment to share and leave a review. Reviews mean everything to podcasters, and I really enjoy hearing from my listeners. You can also find me on my website at www.thewholesomelotus.com or email me at info@thewholesomelotus.com. I love hearing from my listeners. If you're interested and want updates as well as a free ebook on my top 10 fertility boosting habits, you can visit my fertility page on www.thewholesomelotus.com. I thank you so much for listening in and hope that you have a beautiful day.